going on, guys? Gotti Jr. here. I got the intro song going on here. The thunder is in the background. I don't know if you can hear that. I got thunder dropping down. It's dark here in Pennsylvania. I got tornado warnings popping up on my phone. That seems like it's an everyday occurrence here now. They claim that the technology's so good now that they can detect these easier, so they got to put it out there. So this whole spring has just been nothing but tornado warnings, it seems. So let's hope that the roof don't blow off here and we can get this podcast going and keep it going. This is episode 1 of this brand new podcast brought to you by the creators of the Radio Impound podcast. So this one is going to be non-RC related. And I realize some of you are saying, well, I realize that on the Radio Impound podcast, we do go off on a tangent with sports and all this other stuff, video games. But yeah, I wanted to keep this one with no RC in it. It's going to be under the RIPCast umbrella. I don't have a name yet of this podcast, but by the time you're listening to this, you're going to see the title there. It's going to be in between. You're going to have Radio Impound podcast episodes, and then you're going to have this one. It's just something else for you guys to listen to. Just trying to give back to you guys. And like I said, non-RC related. The whole idea for me was to just have guests on the show that, maybe I'll have some friends on, just talk about whatever. So, for example, on this episode 1, I'm going to have a good friend of mine from school back in the day call into the show from fabulous Las Vegas, Steve Masker. And Steve, back in school, there was a group of us that were class clowns, goof offs, but and Steve to me was the funniest of the group. I mean, Steve's the type of guy that, and you may know somebody like this in your life, where if you're having a bad day, if you're hanging around somebody like Masker, you couldn't help but laugh, and he would turn your shit day into a good one, really, to be honest with you. And Steve never seemed like he was having a bad day in school. And if he was hiding it pretty damn well, because I think that guy was always on. He was always funny to me and just hilarious dude. And for me, going to school was the only way I could hang out with my friends. I mean, I lived out in Timbuktu. I lived way out in the country. It's not like today. We didn't have cell phones and internet. We couldn't keep in contact with each other. If anybody wanted to get a hold of me, they had to pick up their house phone, dial 1, and then the phone number, long distance charges. So nobody called. I didn't call anybody. So yeah, going to school was my only chance to hang out with friends. And I was always so jealous of these guys that lived in town. They always, they'd be like, hey, you hear them in the halls, hey, we're going to hang out after school, ride bikes, go out and play basketball, whatever, So, yeah, so for me, I always wanted to go to school. I had perfect attendance for a couple of years there. I didn't want to miss a day. And, I didn't want to get stuck over there, which, if I did, I played video games, wrench on my RC car. So it wasn't all that bad, but, you wanted to hang out with friends when you're in school. So, but, where I'm going with all this is, so late 80s, early 90s again. The Fox TV network, okay, they had a hell of a lineup back then on the weekend, especially Sundays. We had shows like the Tracy Ullman Show, which had The Simpsons in it, clips of The Simpsons, and then eventually, of course, the story, The Simpsons go on, get their own show and still going strong. So Tracy Ullman Show, then you had shows like In Living Color. I mean, the Wayans brothers, fantastic, way better than SNL, I thought. The skits were so funny and edgy. And then you had Get a Life with Chris Elliott, the 30-year-old paper boy that lives at home. Some of you listeners may remember this stuff. I mean, it was a wacky-ass TV or comedy show, but, I loved it. It was funny. It was out there. It was great. And then you had shows like Gary Shandling, another one that was just, not for everybody, but it was just so good. And then, of course, Married with Children. And so, these shows would come on over the weekend, and we'd come back to school on Monday, and we would just talk about them. And, you'd get together in the halls and the classrooms, and, you would recite the lines and try to make everybody laugh. And to me, Nobody was better at that than Masker. I mean, he remembered everything perfectly and just delivered it. It was just hilarious. And I'm shocked that he never became like a stand-up comedian or something. But anyway, so that was, it was just a different time, and we got away with that stuff. The teachers were a little bit more lenient than they are today, for sure. I mean, today just seems so different. I don't even think you get a chance to know your teacher today. They just, they're always, it's very streamlined, and they're getting you ready for the next test. But it was just a good time, and I'm glad if I could go and do it all over again, I would. So again, those TV shows, we would talk about them, and Steve was always very, like I said, he could deliver those lines perfectly, and he was always up on the TV shows, and to this day, very knowledgeable in movies and TVs and all the celebrities out there. And as I'm thinking about what I want to do for this podcast and who I could bring on, Steve was one of them. I mean, I in my head, I was like, well, he could be like my movie go-to guy. Like, is there a blockbuster movie coming out? Maybe he can preview it for us, drop some info on it, give us a review of a movie, have him talk about TV shows, or whatever. I mean, he's an electrician out in Vegas, so maybe he could come on the show and drop some info about electrical work. God knows I can use some help here with it. But maybe he could drop some info on that stuff. Who knows? Anything. And so I asked Steve, and, he's never been on a podcast or show before, but, I told him, I said, look, it would just be like you're eavesdropping, and, we talk to each other at least once a month. And I said, it would just be like one of our phone calls, and just like everybody else is just eavesdropping in on it. So, he said, yeah, what the hell? I'll do it. And, so for episode 1 here, I'm bringing in Steve, and, just kind of like get to know Steve. I'm sure we'll end up talking about all the good old days stuff and maybe some shows and movies. And then when he has time, he can come on in future episodes, and, we'll talk about all that stuff. And like I said, movies, whatever. So we're going to take a quick break here. It's really dark here, 2:00 in the afternoon, super dark. We got thunder in the background. I don't know if you guys can hear it, rain. And, I'm going to go check on things, see how the roof is holding up, and, hopefully we get all this in. And yeah, so we'll take a quick break. When we come back, my good friend, Steve Masker, will be joining us for episode 1.
What's my cue?
So, dude, I was just talking about those days of the fucking Fox network having all those TV shows that we used to watch. I forget how the exact lineup went, but I remember it was like from like 7 o'clock on. It was just filled with shit to watch, right?
Well, you had. When we started getting into it, it was the Gary Shandling show, Tracy Ullman show. Mm-hmm. And then Married Children came on the scene. It was when Married Children used to come on, that was Mondays in drafting class was just nothing was going to happen.
Yeah, nothing.
Nothing was going to happen. Allison was
Mr. Allison. Okay. He loved us.
Yeah. All right, you three goofballs. This is how it's going to go down, because none of us. It's so weird now because I'm like an electrician and like I have to measure, and it's like I didn't have. I couldn't grasp any of that shit back in the day. And like I'm an artist, but I could not draw a freaking bolt or a screw to save my life. And I'm like,
that's amazing.
Right. Yeah. So then we turn in stuff, and he just was like, yeah, this is a waste of fucking. You guys are oxygen thieves.
That's true, especially me. Yeah.
So this is how this is going to go down. Because we used to always draw. Because you're the basketball guy, I was the hockey guy at the time.
Yeah.
But then you had to do a hockey rink, and then I had to do a basketball rink
For the whole year, right? He assigned,
basically.
Yeah, he said, "Hey, look, you guys are probably not going to do anything that we're doing, so here's a project for you to work on for the whole freaking year. As long as you sit over there and shut up and don't talk about your TV shows, I'll give you a grade on this, and I guess pass this from off of that, right? I mean,
yeah. Do you remember? You probably don't remember this, but we'd. I think it was kind of your idea, but we would always be out. Everybody else would be. We purposely would get there late so that the room was filled, and then we would walk into the room, and then you would and then she says, "I don't get it," and then me and you would just belt out laughing like it was the funniest joke you ever heard in your life,
right?
And then everybody wanted to hear what we were talking about. We're like, you wouldn't get it.
Yeah, I do remember that. Yeah, I think that was my idea. But I mean, that class was filled with a drafting class was filled with some seniors too, right?
Oh yeah, we had Todd Anderson was in there.
Yeah,
Mitch Stiper.
All these guys that could kick the shit out of us if they wanted to.
Yeah.
But they didn't seem to mind really. We just goofed off and
no, we were it was like Thanksgiving. We were at the little kids table over in the corner.
yeah, we were. Right hand corner of the room.
And then you had Schulte we kind of tractor beamed him into our little party.
So he put us in the corner of that room and we just goofed off a lot. I remember I brought my Game Boy and I got taken away.
Oh yeah.
But going back to those TV shows, we would just sit there and talk about those shows.
I know.
And reenact them and sort of, you would be doing reciting the lines and we'd be cracking up over them and just, I mean, that's how it was back then. I mean,
I remember the one with Kelly Bundy. She's like trying to read a book and she says to Bud, what's this word? And he's like, "Hey, Kel."
Yeah.
and then the one where they're trying to get into their mom and dad went back to their senior reunion or whatever, and there was votes or something like that, and they were trying to they're trying to fix it or whatever, and then Kelly's like, I think Kelly's the one that's trying to break the lock, and Bud's like, "Can you break it?" She goes, they might as well locked it with a piece of gum.
This is so good stuff.
Yeah. That was a great show, man. They still show that out here right now. Like I never get up in time to watch it, but I think like TBS has them on real early.
Yeah.
And then you got what's his name, Ed O'Neill. He's on Family or Modern Family, and that show's real good too.
Yeah, that is good. Carrie had me watch that. She's like, "You're gonna love it," and I was like, "All right, I'll sit down and watch it." And hilarious. I mean, it's just good. It's so good.
Yeah.
And Ed O'Neill's still killing it, man.
What the hell's the name of that high school?
But my brother lives down in North Carolina, and he would go to the gym to work out. My brother, and Ed O'Neill would be there sometimes because he's there during the summer and stuff.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, I was like, this is crazy. I'm like, what? And I guess Ed O'Neill's mother lived on the Outer Banks, so he would go there to visit her and stuff. And
I would have walked in with a Polk High t-shirt.
Yeah.
I think he actually did, if I'm not mistaken. He did actually, I don't know, he either played in the NFL or he had a tryout with the NFL or got drafted or something like that.
Oh, he's a big dude, so I believe that.
Yeah.
Those days were awesome, though. I was saying before he came on, Steve, about how like I lived out in the sticks, so I didn't want to miss a day of school because it was like I wanted to hang out with you guys and just especially on fucking Monday mornings. I just wanted to BS about the shows. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're like.
So I rarely missed a day. I mean, I wasn't any good at school at all, but I certainly
Your
had
most
perfect
productive day was Monday, and then you were like, "Fuck Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday."
Yeah, I mean, I showed up, but yeah, they didn't really do much. It's crazy.
And then the best part, so here this whole time, I'm like, we're getting our ass chewed in regular high school for talking about TV shows all the time, being goof offs or whatever. And then I end up going to Penn State in '95.
Okay.
And I had this class, Theater 109. So I thought like it was going to be like about acting or something, you know? But no, it was such a bad class. It was, the guy comes in the very first day, professor, there's like 300 people in his fucking class. And he goes, I just want to let you know that the class mean, which is a class average for this class, is a D. I'm like, how does this guy even have a job? You know? And then it turned out what it was had nothing to do with theater. It was more of a communications class. Like you studied how radio first started. And then we used to listen to old radio shows like during the 40s and 50s. One of the best ones was, and this had actually happened too. It was supposed to be a big name clown. Of course, you can't see him, but he'd get on there, do the honky honk and all this stuff for these kids. It was a kids show. And I think it was on a Friday or whatever. And the guy didn't know the mic was still on. And he says, that'll keep those fuckers busy for like next 3 days. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Needless to say, he was fired.
Holy shit. Damn.
Yeah, that happened like in the 50s. And then they did the whole thing with, you had to learn about TV, then how radio transitioned to television. And then we would watch shows, and here, next thing you know, we're watching All in the Family. All these shows that I grew up just like a deer in headlights staring at, because, you know, that's basically, we had 3-4 channels back in the day.
Yeah.
And that was the best means of babysitting. Turn the TV on. They called it the glue tube for a reason. And then we'd be watching it. And, I mean, I remember all of them shows, dude. I know all of them lineups. It wasn't just Sunday. I mean, I can remember like Chips and freaking Knight Rider and A-Team and oh my God, the 80s television was
fantastic.
Was great.
Yep. I used to have to come over town to go to my grandmother's to watch that though, because out in the sticks before '87, we had just one channel, Fox, and that was it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we just had an antenna, and you know, couldn't get nothing but Fox, and so I would have to come over town to watch a lot of TV and shit.
Yeah.
And then '87, we got a satellite, and that was like, boom, that was amazing. I was like,
and then the whole town was going out to the sticks to watch West Coast television at your place.
Yeah.
I do remember, like, because you're super Mr. Lakers.
Yeah.
And you're like, I'm going to watch a Lakers game. It's on at like 10 o'clock at night or whatever. You're watching on the East Coast all the way till like 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning and then coming to school.
Yeah. Dead tired. Yeah.
And then the one, like,
could have been part of
I love that house you had where you came in and you kind of like stepped down into that big room. But then you're like, showing me how that old satellite worked.
Which was amazing back then. That thing was like, you know, it was a big dish, and you know, you hit a button and it would rotate to certain satellites. Yeah. You know, it ain't gonna get any better than this, guys.
Yeah, right. And then it wasn't just channel, like now you get on DirecTV and they're all like 3-digit channels or whatever. Your channel had like half the alphabet in it and a fucking 300 numbers. JLMNNKKK 013. Lakers game.
Yeah. Which, you know, I love the old satellite though, because you were able to tune in. Like they would beam over shows to the East Coast, and you were able to tune into them before anybody watched them over here. If you were able to tune the satellite, you would have to do it on the remote. And like, you know, for instance, I was able to sometimes watch these Mario Children's before anybody else did, because it would be a broadcast feed, you know, with no commercials or anything. But that's what was cool. I really love that stuff. Like when they were setting up interviews, I remember one time I was watching Mike Tyson get ready for an interview on a news station. So he was sitting there at his desk and he just ripped a huge fart. It was freaking hilarious as he was sitting there waiting to be interviewed by whoever, CNN or whatever. But yeah, it was hilarious. But that's the kind of thing you could do with those old satellites, tune into certain feeds. And I never forget it. I see him leaning right now and he just ripped it.
Reminds me of how when they used to do them in Living Color. What's his name? What the hell? What was his big saying on thing? That's ludicrous.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just shit my pants. That's ludicrous.
Oh man, and Living Color, that show was just so.
How about them Fly Girls, huh?
Yeah, yeah. Couldn't
I
wait
took
for
it
them
up
to
a
come out.
notch.
Sure did.
I can't believe what's her name used to be one. J Lo.
Yeah.
Then all those brothers made all those scary movies that they were pretty good.
Oh man, so good.
Some of them, they kind of like hit the wall there at the end.
Scary Movie and Scary Movie 2 I loved. But with Chris Elliott and we were talking about Get a Life, 30-year-old paper boy back then on the Fox.
Living with his parents.
Oh, so good, that show. Fuck, I loved it.
I wish they could put that on Netflix.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
I'd watch Gary Shandling in a heartbeat. I remember they did the Gary Shandling one where it was supposed to be like The Fugitive, and there's like a remote helicopter on the stage, and there's like running from it.
Yep.
And then he had Chester. He went to see his girlfriend at her home or whatever. And it was like Chester was like Chris Elliott's character in Get a Life, but like 30 some years old, leaving with his parents. He's like, Gary, come upstairs and look at my room. He's like, why don't you bring it down here and show all of us?
Yeah.
Hey, that's a joke, right?
Yeah. The way he delivered it was so good. Gary Shandling, man. I don't think that show's anywhere on Netflix or anything, right?
I know, you might be able to get it on Hulu.
Okay.
You heard about that, right? Hulu and Disney? Yeah, so Disney bought... No, they didn't buy it. They're making their own Disney channel, just like Netflix. And so I don't know how it's going to work with Netflix, because Netflix has all these... They bought their Marvel rights from Disney so that they could put all the Marvel movies up. So I think after this year... Whenever that contract's up, Marvel's or Disney's going to yank it, because Marvel or Disney owns Marvel, they own Star Wars. There's something else they got in there too. So the Disney Channel that you're going to be able to buy, that streaming Disney, I think it's literally only it's $10 a month, or one flat fee for $69 for the year. Yeah. So that's coming out, I think, in the fall. I'm going to say September or October. So then they were talking about not only that, but they're going to buy Hulu.
Oh.
So, so Hulu will be part of Disney, and it's still going to be that same price, that $10. Because Disney don't have any shows.
Yeah.
Although they are going to start making Marvel shows, because Loki from... I know you're not big into the Marvel thing, but Loki from Avengers and Thor, he's supposed to have his own show that they're going to make.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if any of the other characters from Avengers are going to get their own show. But so then you have Hulu, who already has all the shows on television, plus they have some self-made ones too, like Netflix is doing. So it's going to be interesting, because if that happens, I'll drop Netflix. I'm tired of paying the $14, and they just keep going up, and the content doesn't really get any better.
Oh, is that what it is? $14 now?
I pay like 14 or 15 because I went for the 4K because I have a 4K television, but they have little or no 4K content.
All right. I'm using someone's password, but I guess that's going to end soon too, because I saw at CES they have this new program out that's going to detect all that shit. I'm like, no.
Yeah, I think the ex-girlfriend put on Facebook the other day that she tried turning her TV on, and it said about they were supposed to have to pay more because there's another user or whatever.
Oh, really?
I think though, I mean, that's when people are getting out of hand with it, because I think by their original deal, you could get, I think the original deal was you're allowed to have up to 4 televisions on it, because your house has 4 televisions usually. You know?
Mm-hmm.
So this password giving out, that's where it's like, you got 10, 15 people that are using the same password, you know?
Yeah. And I guess this program's supposed to detect where it's coming from and stuff like that, and they're going to be able to shut them down. Or they'll probably to come up with a tiered plan, I'm sure. Like, hey, if you want 10 users, you got to pay this price. But
yeah, I'm not stealing anybody's shit.
Oh, yeah. Neither am I.
Say it louder.
Anybody listening out there. I'm not stealing anybody's either. I was giving an example of a friend of mine that actually. So
yeah, I read it first person. My bad.
Shit. Yeah, I'm off and on Hulu. Sometimes I'll.
I remember when Hulu was free. I used to watch.
Hulu was free at one time.
Oh yeah, dude, it was great.
Oh shit.
Because I used to watch It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Okay.
This was probably about 10 years ago. And then it went from you could watch a whole episode, and then you could watch a couple minutes, and then if you wanted to watch the whole show, I think they were charging like 99 cents or something like that. Then it went to the way it is now. Okay.
Yeah, I'm off and on with them, so something I like some of the shows on there. But I'm like an old school guy now too. Like I like watching all the old Dennis the Menaces and shit like that. It's weird, but they got that on there.
That is weird.
Yeah, I know. I love that show though. Yeah, I'm gonna edit it out. Don't worry. I'm gonna edit that right out. But
yeah, I got something that came on my smart television when I did an update. So now I forget what the hell it's called. TV Now or something like that. It's like automatically comes in if you had Wi-Fi hooked to the television, so you get all these channels. And when I first came on, I was like, "What the hell is this?" I couldn't figure it out. And now, then I found some channel that was like all throwback shows, and Mary Tyler Moore, Dick Van Dyke, you know. And I never watched that growing up, Dick Van Dyke show, and I started watching it probably about a month ago or whatever. I was like, man, it's actually pretty funny, you know? Like their banter was pretty, because they didn't know what to censor at the time, you know, like to a point. So, but yeah, Mary Tyler Moore, whew, that woman was a looker.
Yeah, back then.
Yeah. And you had so then I don't know what happened to that channel, because something happened. It did another update, and now it's stuck on this whole house. So whatever, it's a win-win. I just keep figuring out how to fucking fix a bunch of shit.
I watch. I like the old shows like Bewitched and I Dream of Jeannie.
Oh yeah, I used to fucking call off. Yeah, that's what playing hooky as an adult is. But yeah, I used to stay home from school just so I could watch F Troop.
Oh, okay.
It was a rock block, dude. It was like F Troop. Then it was I Dream of Jeannie, Bewitched.
Elizabeth Montgomery, man, she always did it for me.
Oh yeah, she's having cancer, dude.
Yeah. Such a good show, though, man. Bewitched and I Dream of Jeannie, those were fantastic. Especially for back then, that had to be nuts.
Barbara Eden. Barbara Eden was the Princess Leia outfit before Princess Leia had it.
Oh.
Well, I mean, the way that how much skin they showed. Like,
yeah.
She still looks good.
Yeah.
Well, I haven't seen her in a little while, but.
Yeah, she was super hot.
Yeah.
But I can't imagine, like, I asked people back then, like, you know, I'll say to my dad or whatever, what was it like watching that show back then? It had to be, like, crazy, because that technology, like, the way they did it and made Bewitched and I Dream of Jeannie was just, it looks really cool today, really. I mean, you know, it holds up.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And then she'd like that was the beginning of dual characters too. Like
Yeah.
you know how she played her, I think her cousin or something like that.
That had to blow their mind. I mean, a lot of people were high back then. They had to be like, "Am I high? Am I really high? Did I get a? What's going on here, man?" When they were watching that,
and that's when you really only had 3 channels.
Yeah.
So talk about how they could program you. Can you imagine?
Man,
it's like we got 3 shots at something right now. Now you got like Fox News, CNN, blah 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 blah, all these C-SPAN, blah blah.
Yeah.
And then the regular television news, but don't know what to watch anymore. So that's why I keep it to Pornhub and
and Clip Hunter
and Porn Flip into this old house.
Yeah.
I'm learning and I'm doing. I'm learning and I'm doing.
I can't imagine having the internet back then when I was growing up. It would have been crazy.
Yeah, right. Well, dude, do you remember when the internet first started? I'll never forget. Like, well, no one's gonna have. I don't know who's gonna listen to this at all, but when it first started, and we had to do listen to that fax machine sound, and that was before like people don't know the suffrage because we couldn't afford 2 lines at my house. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, most people that were doing okay had 2 lines. One line was for your regular phone line, and then they threw it was a 2-line house. You threw the computer on the other line. That way, if any incoming calls are coming, then you wouldn't miss them. But we didn't have that. So in the beginning, I used to go to Schultz's all the time because we didn't have the internet. He had that computer or whatever. I was at his house all the time. Then I got web TV. So because I
web TV. That was cutting edge back then.
It was $150 or something like that compared to a $2,000 computer. So
yeah,
no brainer.
No brainer.
So I got web TV. I mean, it was not as good as having a computer because scrolling was just with the up down arrows left to right. Kind of a pain in the ass, but oh man, my parents chewed my ass all the time. They tried to get on the phone. Order a pizza.
Yeah, that's right. When you pick up the phone, that's what you hear.
Yeah.
That's right.
And then the old man, he was a gem. God damn it, get off that goddamn computer.
Yeah.
And then of course I'm lying. I'm not on the computer, but all you can hear is my footsteps, like trying to put everything away before they could get up the steps to prove me wrong.
Oh man,
I'm studying my Bible. Let me alone.
Yeah. Oh man, web TV. And it was so convenient because it was, you just have it on your TV, and then hey, want to get on the internet quick? Just
I forget how that whole worked, actually. No, I do. That's right. There was a receiver. So, yeah, you had a web TV receiver. So, the phone line came out of your phone jack into the back, and then from the back of that,
to the TV.
You had your audio video cables to the TV would go into the back of that.
Yeah.
And then your it had a wireless keyboard that was basically a remote control.
Yeah, that was trick for back then.
Oh, yeah. I sold that thing to Sobolewski.
Oh, yeah?
That guy that ended up going to work for ESPN. Yeah.
Right.
And he bought that off me. I didn't lose a dime on it. He paid me the same price I paid for it.
Yeah, what were they back? Were they
$100.
$100, yeah. Yeah, that was
150. I think it's $100 for the receiver part, and then for that wireless, it was like $50 for the wireless keyboard, maybe.
Yeah.
I didn't break the bank. It was fun, but crazy. And then now you now you look at what we got now with the streaming. Like, you went from that fax thing, that to DSL, which was digital signal something link, I think, something like that.
So I never went DSL.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I just went dial up and then went to broadband once it was available, cable.
See, DSL you could still have a regular phone line and have incoming calls. So that's we went to DSL with Verizon.
Okay.
And then it went to high speed cable, broadband. Yeah. And then they have FiOS now, which is fiber optics, which is you're not going to get any faster than that. It's the speed of light. So, but they only do that in major cities, really.
Yeah, I was going to say it's not around here.
These big companies. Yeah, we don't have it. I mean,
you don't have it in Vegas?
No, not that I know of. I mean,
wow. So just major cities.
You have to. Well, I know that Philadelphia has it, and yeah, they did it like for them to do that. I mean, because you can't like it was so much easier when they figured out they could put that signal over cable because everybody already had cable. You know, because all the cable lines have been run. But for which we're talking about fiber optics, that's the new technology. You know, those crystal fibers and stuff. I mean, you got that. You had to actually build all the fiber cables. You have to splice it. It's a pain in the ass, and then you have to rewire the entire United States with fiber optics.
Wow.
So that's why it's not like booming because it's expensive. I don't know. I mean, you'll see it out here in because you can drop down from cable from the road to into your what do you want to call it, building, and then it patches off, so it goes like cable coming in and fiber optics to the patch board, like where all these everybody's like. I mean, you're talking about like a huge building with a bunch of computers and stuff.
Now you don't have to deal with any of this shit in your job, do you?
I used to do low voltage. Yeah.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah, I had Boyd Gaming out here. I did a Boyd Gaming building. I did 70,000 feet in Cat 5, which is
wow.
Yeah. Wired up all their cubicles and stuff.
So that's what happened.
Yeah.
I read about that.
I used to be a girl.
Jesus. Man. Well, that's cool. Damn.
Yeah. It's crazy what you'll do to survive.
Yeah. Anyway, so the internet thing, I can't imagine, like I said, if I had that in the late 80s, 90s, I don't know. I would have been at school on Mondays for sure, but definitely not the rest of the week. I'd have been video gaming or something online. If we had video gaming online, I would have been all over. I would have never graduated for sure. But that's crazy what we did to, living in the dark ages back then.
Oh, yeah. Well, you're talking about back to game, and I'll never forget when I had my Atari 2600 was out.
Yep.
And we couldn't afford it. And then at the same time, my cousin had Coleco.
Yeah.
And I remember playing Mario and Donkey Kong on their thing, and I was like, man, I really want this. Well, then my mom worked for Sears, and she somebody had returned one 2600, and my mom's like, well, I guess she got it at a discount or something. And here the only problem with the thing was it had the AC adapter was pinched, so it wasn't getting the right voltage or whatever. So yeah, I ended up getting a 2600, man. Oh, Pitfall Harry. What a stupid game, but man, we were just idiots. It's like nothing changed. You just kept running from screen to screen.
Yeah.
It really never got much harder than a certain point, because there's I think the hardest part was there was 4 crocodiles. And you had to jump on his head, go to the next one, and then grab the money or whatever. I mean, literally, if you could jump over those 4 crocodiles' fucking heads, and you had no life, and you had oxygen and and a toilet close,
you're good to go.
Good to go. You could have kept going on and on and on forever.
The scorpions always seem to give me trouble though, down in the tunnel.
Oh, that's right. You had to jump those things too.
It was just, I don't know. I always got hung up on that, at times. But
the vine, you had to jump on the vine and go.
Yeah, I loved when you missed the vine. Your character just goes right into the alligators or whatever. Yeah, it's just, yeah.
But that was a big one that we'd always play. Pac-Man, of course.
Yeah.
But then
Keystone Capers. Remember that game?
No.
Oh, I used to love that game. It was like you're a mall cop basically, and you're chasing robbers around in the mall.
Oh no!
You had to go on different levels, and shopping carts were coming at you. You had to jump over them. It's a lot of fun. That was one of my favorite games. Keystone Capers, Mountain King. That was really good. Listeners can YouTube this stuff and watch them now. But yeah, Mountain King was another one. Huh. I had the Atari 2600. I don't remember who bought it or whatever, but I always had that. But then when it came to switch to the Nintendo, which was 1985, my friends had the Nintendo system, but man, it took a lot of convincing because it was an expensive system. It was $200, I think, back then. Close to it.
There was no way I was going to see that.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't see it until
I don't think I saw $200 in lunch money for the whole year.
You're getting nothing. You don't eat lunch today, Steve. But and hell, did we really eat lunch at school? We just went there and BS'd. But
I literally survived on 4 years on Tasty Clairs and chocolate milk.
Yeah, I think that might have cost $2, maybe not even.
That's about it. That's about it.
Yeah.
And if I found 50 cents, I would go get a Snyder's of Hanover fucking hard pretzel.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tasty Cakes. That was my go-to. The chocolate eclair.
That's it. Yep. That's the Tasty Clair.
Yep. So yeah, I didn't get the NES until I think late 86, almost 87. I mean, it took a lot of convincing, I had to try to get my dad to buy that for me. Finally, my grandmother actually took me to go get it. So, and that was a big
Social Security check.
I mean, I did enough nagging, and she's like, you know what? Let's go get it. So we went to, man, I think I bought it from Boscov's, believe it or not. But
yeah, I do believe that. It's still going.
Yeah, and I wanted because I lived out in the sticks, I wanted the Nintendo that had the robot at the time because I saw the commercial and I'm like, man, they have a robot that you can play with, like he'll play a game with you. And
I don't remember that.
Yeah, it was Rob the Robot for Nintendo. And I wanted that so bad. So we went to the store looking for it. They didn't have it. So I got the regular system. And, thankfully the actual robot Rob, he failed because they only came out with like one game for it, and it never took off. But the thing would sit there. You go YouTube it later. It would sit there and play the game.
Now that you're talking about that, remember the Power Glove?
Yeah, yep, sure do.
That was in the movie with the Wiz or Wizard with Fred Savage.
Okay,
do you remember that movie or no?
I'm sure I saw it, but my memory. It's freaking terrible.
Yeah, he's like, I forget the entire premise, but I know they're going to some big gaming tournament or whatever.
Yeah.
And Fred Savage has to beat this kid or whatever, and out comes the Power Glove. And Fred Savage is like, what the shit is that? A keyboard on his fucking arm. I don't know if he get to use the Power Glove. I can't remember. But I remember he had to beat the kid.
I've been watching this show. Well, the Goldbergs. That's a pretty good show. They go back to the 80s, so
yeah,
they had a Power Glove in that one of their episodes.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, yeah,
that's hilarious.
But yeah. So Nintendo, I didn't get till late. I would say it's close to 87.
I didn't have any of those Nintendos. I was always over at Schulte's place playing them because he had it.
Mm-hmm.
Me, him, Fisher, and then I'll never forget when we rented what the heck's the name of that Mega something like
Mega Man, or
Mega Man, yeah. Oh, dude, Mega Man 1, Mega Man 2, whatever.
So good.
Like, and then we would just keep handing them the controller around the room until like, oh, and then we could like get all. It was a big camaraderie, man. like being like three people that wouldn't really. None of us talk now to this day and age, but back then we'd be past this thing and congratulating each other. Oh, you got Phase 4, bro, because I can't do it. I can't do it.
Yeah.
You know. So then,
those were good times, though.
Oh yeah. But then I never had that. I never had Super. And then 96, I got the N64. I thought that shit was great.
Mm-hmm.
And I had that for a while. Never got any of the PlayStations. Then I had PS1, PS2. Then I finally got PS3. Probably about 2006.
Yeah, that was, yeah.
And then
that's when it launched.
I had that for a year, two.
Which I was shocked to see you online when we I was like, wow, Steve, when you told me you were playing online PlayStation 3.
Well, I think I forget what FIFA I got, but yeah, when FIFA, they're like, my buddy was playing FIFA. I'm like, I'm getting it. I don't care if I can play soccer all day. I'm doing it. So it's cool. And that game just exploded, but you can't do it now. Like nothing really changes other than the guys on the teams. I mean, I watch these tournaments with that, and these kids, these Russian kids or whatever they are, they know how to do all. I mean, there's so much crap that you can do with that controller, and I don't have the dexterity to do it, or maybe the brain cells.
Yeah,
one or the other. But it's crazy how they're acting like a real soccer player, like doing all these moves.
Yeah, they're probably even using a special controller. They have all these different controllers out there you could buy. But
yeah, I'm not that much into it.
Yeah. That's the thing. Like, there's so many, like, that's what, these games go online and you find out that there's so many good players out there. It's just hard. I don't know. Maybe it's just age too. Like, I'm getting older. Like, I used to be good at games like Call of Duty. Now I get online and get absolutely crushed. I mean, just destroyed. Here I am, 45 years old, and, these 12-year-olds are telling me what they did to my mom last night. It's like, it's like, I don't even get mad because I'm like, I get it because I did the same thing. It's like, or I still do the same thing. But,
did you see that Tom Clancy's Fallout, the new one's coming out?
Yeah, is this the add-on to Wildlands? Are you talking about?
I don't think so. It's
a whole new Ghost Recon, right? Is that what that is?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
I watched. They're like the trailers out. Watch it. So I watched the trailer. I'm like, I have no idea what this thing's about. I want to see gameplay. It's all some stupid computer story right now on that thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I'd be curious.
Yeah, I like the Tom Clancy games. I mean, hell, we used to play Rainbow Six Siege together. Me, you, Noah.
He showed me that game. I got so mad. I'm like, because once you were dead, you were out, and you had to watch everybody. I'm like, this sucks. Like, there was no.
Yeah, you didn't like that, but I love that. That's what I like, that whole, like, everything counts.
Well, I didn't realize that once you were dead, you could get on the cameras and still keep helping people.
Yeah, which is kind of weird to me. One of my good buddies, Kirby, he's really into that game, plays it all the time, and I'm always like, yeah, but isn't it kind of weird that you can get on the camera and tell these guys where people are in the hallways and shit? Like, that wouldn't, like, if you're dead, you should just be dead, I think, and not be able to tell your teammates anything. But I don't know.
It still helps.
But for me, that's all I can do now is spot enemies and tell the guys when I'm dead where the guys are at. I suck at it so bad anymore.
I was Steven Spielberg on those cameras.
Yeah.
I was making miracles happen.
Yeah, I remember you playing and you were calling everything out. But yeah, that's
just crushing beers and fucking playing Siege all night long.
Yeah,
that was fun.
In Wildlands, I absolutely love Wildlands because it brings me back to the SOCOM days, the SOCOM 2 days. I don't think you ever played SOCOM 2.
No, I never did.
But that was just like Wildlands, in a way. So that's the closest I'm going to get to SOCOM, since they're not freaking remaking the damn game for whatever reason. Sony. I have no idea why you're not remaking that game. Come out SOCON 2 HD, please. That's all everybody wants out there. But that game, SOCOM 2, I used to be up to like 4 or 5 in the morning playing that freaking game. Can't tell you how many times I watched the sun come up. I mean, that game was just so much fun. Me and my buddy Kirby would constantly play it, and all night, no joke.
That was Tom Clancy, right?
Yeah. No, it was just straight up Sony production. SOCOM Navy SEALs. That was it, and so good. One and done though. I mean, once there was no respawning, and then so all these years go by, and everybody to this day is still asking for SOCOM remake. They're not doing it for whatever reason, and then Ghost Recon Wildlands comes out, and it's sort of like it. It's on the same path. So such a good game. I don't know why I don't play it more often. I don't, but that's what it is, I guess. So
there was another one, the James Bond one. A lot of people
back in the day, GoldenEye 007.
Yeah, I guess I never played it, but everybody said that was good.
Yeah, I never played it. But that's like a classic. Here we are talking video games. We were going to talk TV shows and movies, but
it all correlates.
It's going to be just a pile of stuff. But yeah, it just seems as I'm getting older here, it's just I'm realizing that I don't know if it's just my reflexes just getting all fucked up now or whatever. I'm just not as good as I was maybe 10, 15 years ago. So now I'm just kind of like, okay, I'll sit back here and spot enemies for everybody. That's good, do something like that. But yeah,
that's why I don't know how Noah does it, but he keeps roping me into those battlefields. The last one, I guess, wasn't too bad. I liked that thing that we were doing where it was like missions.
Mm-hmm.
I did like that part, but the regular battlefield where you get shot like 3 times and full well you're shooting the other guy like 6, 7 times and he doesn't die.
Yeah.
It just drives me batshit crazy.
Mm-hmm. You run like a mile and get killed and then you got to respawn.
Yeah, I know. That was another one. Yeah.
But we were playing Battlefield 1 and I don't know, we were having tons of fun on that game, getting in planes and shit.
Yeah, that was one good thing, but they're harder as shit to control.
Yeah, I don't know. Just seems different. I guess it's just coming with age. So yeah, so here we are talking video games. I wanted to get you on the show, and you're going to be like my go-to guy when you have time to come on and talk about movies and shit. You know what I mean? So like if blockbuster movie's coming out, maybe you could preview it for us, for the listeners out there, or if you go see it, you can come back and talk about it. That's what I want to do.
I got to see Aladdin. I was like, first I was like, yeah, I really want to see that one. And then I found out that Will Smith was going to be on it. And I'm like, that's just a bad idea.
Oh, really?
I thought so. I mean, I read a couple of things since it's come out that first off, it's a blockbuster. Second off, Will Smith is, somebody said it was bad with Will Smith. Somebody said it was good with Will Smith. So
I can't imagine
that you got to be careful with a movie like that because Robin Williams, tore that shit up when that movie came out, and no one knew any of those other characters, like as far as their voices were concerned, except for the kid that plays Aladdin. He was from Full House. He was the boyfriend in Full House, Steve. But I mean, that's another recognizable voice. But other than that, what's his name, dude? What the heck's the guy that was doing the duck commercials for
Affleck?
Affleck. Yeah. What was it?
Affleck.
Gilbert Gottfried was the bird. So he was a big kind of like you could stand out.
Jesus, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, and then Robin Williams as the genie. And if I'm not mistaken, because I'm a huge Robin Williams fan, I watch all his documentaries on him. I think they said they only paid him $25,000 to do that, and then that was it. That one and done. Like how great that movie is over all these years. I think so. Tom Hanks, if I'm not mistaken, this is how with Toy Story. I think it's that's the movie this happened on. He didn't take a big payout, or it might have been Forrest Gump too, one or the other. But I think he started doing it on all of his movies. That instead of getting his like $20 million a movie thing, he'd get like some base rate and then get a percentage of whatever the movie made.
Oh, okay.
So, and Rob Williams didn't have that deal. Like
he just took a check, one check.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. It's crazy. You think they'd get like checks forever, royalty checks and shit.
Yeah. So that's, I mean, think about how many times that movie's been played or whatever.
Man. So that movie's out now?
Yeah. Came out Friday.
Oh, okay. So that's the newest Rage?
Yeah. I'm probably going to see it here in a minute, to tell you the truth.
Oh, all right. Well, I'll see. That's something you can come back on and talk about later.
And then and Captain Marvel got cut today for digital, so I'll be watching that tonight.
Oh, all right. Watch that on the Voodoos or something?
Yep.
Okay.
I pre-ordered it. I already saw it in theater.
So how was this?
I'm a Marvel geek. So
okay, so then the Avengers. What quickly because you have to go, but what? I mean, how was that?
Oh, it's great. It's phenomenal. I mean, if you're an Avengers fan, like you're talking 2008, I think was when Iron Man came out. And now we're 10 years later. So
I need to see. I saw you posted something on Facebook showing all the movies leading to Avengers.
Yeah.
So do I need to see all those to understand what the fuck's going on here, or can I just go see Avengers and enjoy it?
I would see all of them except for the Incredible Hulk.
Okay, that one's not good.
Well, the introduction. So there was 2 Hulk movies. There was one called The Hulk with Eric Bana plays the Hulk, and he's a Japanese or Chinese director. I forget, but he should have never touched it. The way he did it was horrible. The way it was filmed, and that's when Shrek came out.
Okay,
so they were comparing how like the CGI on Hulk was like it just looked like kind of like Shrek, you know, that the Hulk wasn't a very good interpretation.
Okay,
so then a couple years later, so that was Sony or Fox that did that one. So then they came out with the Incredible Hulk, and it was Ed. God, what's his name? He's a fantastic actor, and it was him and the chick, Tyler, Liv Tyler. So she plays Betty Banner. Betsy Ross, I think her name is. But yeah. So I mean, they don't really show how the Hulk becomes the Hulk. He's already the Hulk.
Okay.
Edward Norton. And so, I mean, most of these origin movies for Marvel where you get to see how Iron Man was made, you get to see where Thor came from, you get to see how Spider-Man kind of origin story was, Captain America origin story. The Incredible Hulk didn't really have an origin story. And then it wasn't too bad, Incredible Hulk, but Edward Norton didn't keep doing the role because of, like, I think contract or conflict with other movies or something he's shooting. And that's when they got the guy who's playing him now, who is phenomenal in the part, Mark Ruffalo. So yeah, Mark Ruffalo, he plays an awesome Dr. Banner. And yeah, they if he could have been the Hulk in the Incredible Hulk and had a better script and like a little bit of an origin, that would have been perfect. But yeah, Incredible Hulk, you don't need to see that one. But yeah, you need to see everybody else. Like,
well, how many movies are there before?
22.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
So yeah, wow, that's a lot of
22 up until Endgame. But there's going to be more movies. The next thing is Phase 4. So, which is going to continue on with Spider-Man. They're going to come out with. I think I just saw they're going to try to make a Falcon movie. Got Black Panther. It's going to be continuation.
Oh wow! So the Spider-Man movie's coming out soon, right? Because I see it all over the.
Yeah, July.
Okay. All right.
I think it's. I want to say. Let's see, 7, 6, 5, July 5th, I think.
Okay. Over the 4th weekend. So, because I see all the, they already got them all over the chip bags and stuff like that. So, I'm promoting the hell out of it.
Yeah. It looks real good, but you cannot watch if you haven't seen Endgame, you cannot watch Spider-Man trailer for Far From Home.
Oh.
Because there's a lot of spoilers in it from that movie.
Oh, geez. Well, that's good to know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I can't just jump into Avengers then. I really should go see these other ones, or take the time to watch some of these other ones.
Well, I mean, if you don't know,
I can't be the only one out there that doesn't.
There's a huge buildup, like from all these movies where these characters are coming from, and then it's kind of a little bit of a spoiler, but it's not.
Mm-hmm.
In the Endgame, you have all those movies, characters from all those movies come back at some point, and you're just like, me as a psycho Marvel fan, it was just like, oh my god, they brought that person, they got that person, they got that person, and it's just like, it's just insane. So, yeah, it's a phenomenal movie. Not gonna lie, bawled both times.
Wow.
Because you're just laughing, you're crying. It's like, damn, this is a good movie.
Jeez. Okay. Yeah, I feel like I'm missing out.
Well, 2 billion people have seen the movie already, so I'm pretty sure if anybody listens to this other than yourself, I'm not going to tell them something they already don't know.
Yeah.
It was like my buddy said the other day. He's like, because I went to see John Wick 3, and that was fantastic if you're into those movies. But he says, man, can you believe that John Wick knocked Avengers Endgame out? And I'm like, yeah. I said, it's not like back when Titanic was out, and it was out for 14 weeks, and it was the number one movie for 14 weeks, like he's trying to compare that. I go, you take those 14 weeks, and you take the number of people that saw Titanic, those same amount of people saw Endgame in 2 weeks.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, that's the world we live in. We'll binge the shit out of us right now. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know how many people there are in the world, but goddamn, 2.5 billion people. That's a lot of people that seen that movie.
That's amazing.
Not to mention the people that are pirating it.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure. Wow.
So, but yeah, Marvel Girl was real good. It's based in the 80s, so that's what I like about it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of 80s references and stuff. It's funny, like she has to use the computer, and it's just like we were talking about. They're trying to get information. It says buffering.
Oh man, I remember. Oh god.
Yeah.
I remember loading a web page and it just come down line by line. You're like, oh yeah, it's almost loaded. It's like,
then you had to print it out.
On that shitty printer.
Those fucking dot matrix printers.
Yeah. Boy, computer class in high school was worthless.
It is now.
Yeah.
I remember programming in BASIC, dude. I was awesome at that.
Mm-hmm.
And then that went the way of the dinosaur.
Yeah.
So.
All right, cool. So, yeah, so the idea is, I'm just starting this out. This is episode 1. So the idea is just bring, like yourself, come on the show and talk about shit that when it's happening. Because I don't know anything about movies and actors and who's in it and all sort of shit. It'd be kind of cool to have you come on, BS about movies, TV shows, and whatever. Don't matter when you have time. So appreciate you taking the time today to do that.
Yeah, I'm down, man. You know me. I'm a movie junkie.
Yeah.
So.
All right, dude. We will catch you on another episode sometime in the future.
All right. Thanks, buddy.
All right, man. Thanks, man.
Yep. See ya.
Take care.